I would honestly barter with Beelzebub to read again. Okay. I would. Tolkien created languages, one of which I wanted to study in university. Thank you very much, Mummy and Daddy. So I was not allowed to. It's not a real language. Why are you going to use it? You just don't know where you are, what's going on, what the point is, what he's doing. Is he trapped? Is he having a mental health crisis? Hello and welcome to the Bibliophiles. I'm Chaya.
And I am Sophie.
And today we have a fabulous episode prepared. There has been such a trend on social media for a number of years talking about the book that you would sell your soul to Lucifer himself to read again. And we have put together some of our books that we would question all morality and sanity to read again.
Absolutely, for the first time. But before we get started with the episode, we just want to say thank you for taking the time to listen to us today. Whether you're on your commute to work or dropping the kids at school or out for a walk, at the gym, or just at home doing something very
the
boring.
Gym. I mean, that's very impressive.
Well, there you go.
Anyone at the gym, you have my absolute respect.
Round of applause. Or if you're just at home doing some really boring, inane tasks or we're a distraction from work, we are so thrilled that you're here and we hope you stick around. Thank you for joining us today.
Now, what makes a magical first-time experience of a read? I think we have tried to demarcate in our minds because there's favourite books, right?
There are favourite books, although these are not the favourite books, are they? It's weird because you'd assume they would be, but when you actually start doing some research, they aren't.
This is about that experience. It may be a twist that you didn't see coming. It may be the most surreal experience. Reading a book, you're not quite sure what you're reading. It may be so expansive and immersive that you want that transportative quality again.
We've got quite a few of those here, actually.
But actually, we have a really interesting range because there are a few books that I would like to read again for the first time because I almost feel like it was that scene in The Matrix where you take the pill and you see the world.
No, I haven't seen The Matrix.
Are you taking
I'm not joking. And I feel
Are you
like
joking?
There have been moments where I've wanted to say this to you because I know you're obsessed with The Matrix and I haven't seen it.
I'm sorry.
Maybe this is for another time
or
altogether.
Maybe this is now
but there are a lot of things that I haven't seen, like many movies.
I'm sorry. Did culture pass you by?
No, we have talked about this. Culturally, I am Real Housewives.
I'm so stressed out. I can't breathe.
Sunset.
You've not seen The Matrix?
I've not seen The Matrix.
Do you know that I know someone that did a doctorate on The Matrix?
I thought you were going to say, do you know there was someone else I knew who didn't see The Matrix and I had them dealt with? That's what I thought you were going to say.
I sat them down.
Or disposed of them.
Sophie, how?
We can I shouldn't have even said this.
Undertones.
I've opened a can of worms.
Pandora's box.
There we go. Yes, Pandora. But the only thing left in the box is
so you don't know what I'm referring to. Okay. I'm so sorry for anyone that's just panicked that someone they look to for book recommendations hasn't seen an important film. It's a cultural moment. Oh my God, that should be a deep dive. Okay. In The Matrix, I can't believe I'm having to explain Matrix.
You're a school teacher now. In The Matrix.
Okay. Keanu, best friend.
Love him.
Okay. You don't get to say that.
The Matrix.
You don't get to say that.
No, he's a good man.
Stop. Yeah, he is. We love him. He is offered 2 pills. And one will give him the ability to see the Matrix, the computer program, to see the world as it is. And one will give him the ignorance, the blissful ignorance that he will just go back to his own life and forget everything that he has learned.
Okay.
And it is this seminal, critical moment. And it's been used in so many ways, culturally, just referentially to, I know that there's like philosophy books that talk about the importance of that. I cannot believe I'm looking at you. I always think The Matrix is a film that underpins my entire life, but I almost feel like it's you telling me, oh, I don't remember the names of your children. It's fine. But it's that moment. And so when a few of these books, it was like seeing the world anew.
Okay. We got there in the end.
So horrified.
We got there in the end. We'll come back to that after we've filmed.
So words on a page, how are they able to give us such an immersive experience? So there is a real difference between a favorite book, right?
Absolutely.
And a book that you want to experience. It may be that you hated one of the characters, but you want to experience that.
Yes,
hatred.
and I would say that with, at least from my perspective, with some of my favorite books, I really wouldn't want to read them again. A lot of the books I love are really, really dark. Once is enough. That doesn't make them not my favorite. It's just, it's a one-time read, and that is that. And I don't need the feeling of, going back to that, oh my gosh, reading them again, or reading them for the first time either. Reading for the first time, it's different. Selling my soul to recapture that feeling of starting and being in those books. We've got some really good ones. I felt I really knew which ones these were. It didn't take much, actually. No. I knew them.
So we have categorized them just so you know exactly what's coming up. So we've got the immersive, all-consuming worlds. And then we have those emotional roller coasters, those all-encompassing reads. And then we have obsessive, atmospheric, voice-driven books. And then those perspective-shifting, idea-driven.
Yes. And also those plot twist ones, because those twists, I feel some of mine certainly, and I know you do for yours, that moment where you first gauge a plot twist, when you see it for the first time, sometimes those are really, that's what can make you want to read that book again for the very first time.
I like reading books like that with the knowledge I now have to see the foreshadowing.
Yes, I know you do, because you actually can't cope with life or reading the end of a book at the end of a book.
I do it all the time.
There we go.
So we come to immersive, all-consuming worlds. And honestly, it's one of the ways that I know that I am totally invested when not only do I stop doom scrolling or put down my phone or pretend that I'm ill. And when I have Crohn's, that's really easy to do. But it's when I just want everything to stop so that I can read. And that's really hard to do as a working mum. And sometimes I do look at my babies who I would kill anyone to protect them. But I'm like, can you just leave me alone for 10 minutes? He's just about, the yearning has been 400 pages. I'm in an amazing romantic book. It's called Starside by Aster, and I'm really enjoying it.
Do you think I'd like it?
Yeah. And it's been 400 pages of build-up. Like, I don't want to give you a snack right now.
You need some alone time.
You need some alone time.
Well, which brings us on to our incredible sponsors of today's episode, because wouldn't we all like some time to just finish off our favorite books? And I have weird fantasies about this too. Like, could I actually just call in a sitter rather than go out? Because who wants to go out anywhere now? I certainly don't. I mean, sometimes I do, but generally speaking, it doesn't happen very much. Actually, could I not just get a sitter in? I'll just lock myself away somewhere, and said sitter could perhaps look after my children so I could finish one of my books. Or
play a game with them if you don't have that mental headspace. I actually think this is really important. If anyone's going through a hard time, it's very hard to be present for your kids in the way that they psychologically sometimes need. Like my kids ask the most probing questions. I feel like I'm a psychologist, or like Wikipedia. I'm asked repeatedly things that I can't answer.
That is where Bubble can help us. So Bubble Childcare is a fantastic app. There are around, I think, 300,000 parents have now signed up to the platform to find flexible childcare, which is really quite incredible. It allows parents to book sitters from the comfort of their phones, and all these sitters are background checked.
That is the most incredible
And what's really clever about it is, it's all recommendation driven. So you can see the sitters that your friends or your neighbors have recommended as well, which obviously instills a massive degree of comfort in you when you're looking for someone new to potentially help out with your children.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the place that personal reviews, DBS checks, things like that are so critically important. And to give that obligation and those responsibilities to a company and know that you are getting someone that has been so carefully checked and then utilized in other homes, I think is amazing.
It really is. And I think that's the point. Taking time for yourself in any way, shape or form is not a selfish thing. And Bubble really reinforced that message. And there literally is on that app a sitter that can help you with whatever your needs might be. So we are so appreciative of Bubble sponsoring our episode today.
Yes,
thank you, Bubble. And there is a link in our show notes where you can grab yourself an hour of free childcare through the app. So do take a look at that.
I literally want to do that to I really might go on the app. I'm not even joking.
Grab your hour free.
I have a 45-minute problem. I do. My brother's coming down the road and he's like, I might not be able to, so I might not be able to go out.
Now's the time.
Can I use one of? Can I use our free hour? Do we each get one? Okay.
I don't know. Or do we have half an hour each? Okay. On to the episode.
I'm so excited to talk about this book. I actually can't breathe.
Oh yes.
I'm holding in my hand Piranesi by Susanna Clarke, best-selling author of Jonathan Strange,
which we will come to because that was one of mine.
Now, this is award-winning. Susanna Clarke is a fascinatingly elusive, quiet character. Piranesi lives in the house. Perhaps he always has. In his notebooks, day after day, he makes a clear and careful record of its wonders, the labyrinth of halls, the thousands upon thousands of statues, the staircases, and he sees on 2 days a week the other. And at times he brings tributes of foods and water lilies, but otherwise he is alone. Messages begin to appear scratched out in chalk on the pavements. Lost texts must be found. Secrets must be uncovered. The beauty of the house is immeasurable. I cannot begin to describe the coma that I was in reading this book.
Living coma.
I could not talk to anyone.
I think we read that at the same time, didn't we?
It's very disconcerting.
It's quite unlike anything else out there. It's totally...
You just don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
You just don't know where you are, what's going on, what the point is, what he's doing. Is he trapped? Is he having a mental health crisis? There are many people that believe...
I think that's what I thought when I got to the end, that this was all some kind of breakdowny dream. I don't know. It was it's a really peculiar book.
It is peculiar. And the reason why I wish I could read it again for the first time is because I have tried to read this again and it hasn't worked for me in the same way. I find myself deeply analytical of what's going on because I'm trying to work it out almost like an investigation.
Whereas probably the first time round, you're much more going with it because you're not sure when you will find out or if you will find out. You're waiting to see. Whereas once you've got to the end of your first time round, and if you go back to it, it's totally different. I would never, I don't know.
It's not a book for everyone.
Yeah.
It's not a book for everyone. It is miraculous. The way that Susanna Clarke is able to manufacture from mere words a world that you step into, and it is so surreal, but it is so vivid. I can see the statues in the eye of my mind. And I didn't know what was going on, and I hate that usually. Yeah, I am the opposite of someone.
I was going to say, this is not usually
It's not me. I need to know what's going to happen. I didn't even go to the end with this one, Sophie, because I was so enraptured by the experience and wanting to see how this developed that I didn't go to the end to see.
She is an incredible world builder.
I cannot recommend
And I think that's the point. Sometimes, I think Piranesi certainly, with her... I loved Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, which, as you said, was also written by Susanna Clarke, which it's set in a kind of alternate 19th century England, and it's all about magic. Two magicians. So there's Mr. Norrell, who's kind of this very scholarly magician, and then he takes on a student after he's discovered, I think it's what they call practical magic. They've discovered that practical magic is real, and in comes Jonathan Strange, who is a very different character. The book is filled with footnotes. It's almost Dickensian in its writing. It's very, very long. It's really incredible world building. And I think when I read this, it really is as simple as a book taking you away. And I know people often say that about books, that they have this a great book can have an incredible transportative quality. Yes. But the reason I would love to have gone back to this is because I was so immersed. It actually felt like being in that book was real life. And my real life was like a detail on the side of my real life, which was in 19th century England dealing with a kind of magic crisis. And it was recommended to me by someone I worked with. And I've never, ever forgotten it. And what's really upset me is that I've lent it to someone and I don't have it.
This is why we don't lend books.
Yeah.
Piranesi won the 2021 Women's Prize for fiction. And it was quite a controversial win because it's so haunting, but it's so different. that it's not, I don't think it's got a universal applicability.
It's so different from Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. It's
like
so
nothing,
different.
I actually don't know of any book I could compare it to, that dreamlike labyrinth that never really gets resolved. But it's definitely the main book in my mind when I'm talking about immersive, that I would honestly barter with Beelzebub to read again. Okay. I would.
But what about the one you've got underneath it, which I know, well, I mean, I'm looking at that copy of Lord of the Rings over there, which was so kindly given to us. Please note that I say us,
but I have
by the wonderful James. And you literally just took it for yourself.
No, you can take it back after this.
No, it's fine.
You can.
No, I know. No, it's okay.
So you can't complain about it then if you're saying
no, I am just saying that it was never really discussed as what about me wanting it. It just became yours. But that aside, Lord of the Rings is obviously another of those incredible.
So the copy I have is
all consuming.
It's really special because this one is illustrated by the author, so it has his illustrations.
Our very special copy that I'm
not allowing at my house. Yeah, I think with Lord of the Rings, it's immersive in a very different way. You cannot believe that it is fiction. Tolkien created languages, one of which I wanted to study in university. Thank you very much, Mummy and Daddy. So I was not allowed to. It's not a real language. Why are you going to use it? Okay.
There could have been a way.
Are you joking? I could have been a consultant on the films.
I know. Exactly.
My whole career
would have been different.
Was diminished.
It could have been in New Zealand.
Why I would love to read Lord of the Rings again for the first time. And I read it pre-film, and now obviously I only see the characters as portrayed in the most glorious extended edition, 20 hours of my life that I would love to spend again today doing. But I just think that magic of the Shire and the complexities of the history, it was my first foray into fantasy on an epic scale that made me understand the power of writing.
I just really don't think I could read Lord of the Rings again. But actually I'm being stupid here, because obviously we're not talking about reading it again. We're talking about reading it again, like as in recapturing that essence of first time.
You don't know what's coming.
I do get it. I'm not sure it would be one of mine, but I understand why it's one of yours, and probably is for a lot of people. We then move on to the emotional, all-encompassing reads. One that I really adored and would love to capture that magic of reading it for the first time. I'm going to cause chaos here. A Gentleman in Moscow. I mean, this book is just, have you read it?
No.
Oh, I think you'd love it. It has got very tiny fonts, but please don't let that put you off. I know it's not your thing, but it's about a count who is sentenced to house arrest in a Moscow hotel after the revolution. His name is Alexander Rostov. And the book, it basically goes over many, many, many years of him living in this hotel. And there is something incredibly comforting about this book. It deals with huge themes, and it, spans decades, big ideas, but actually they're so almost easily told. Like there's just this incredibly, I love the Count. I think that's a big part of it. I love the Count and I love his story. And then there is what happens at the end. He does, spoiler alert, he does actually manage to get out of this hotel. But what's so incredible is the build up to this point and how he manages to do so. And it has an incredibly magical quality that I think when I read it, I just was absolutely almost enthralled to this book. And I would love to do that again. Really, I would.
And A Gentleman in Moscow came up when we asked our followers on Instagram.
Yeah, it was one of the ones.
It's one of the books that came up.
Others later, but this was very much one that others had agreed that they would love to. They would also sell their souls to read again.
Now, in terms of the emotional, all-encompassing reads, I know that one of your favorites is on here that you haven't spoken about in depth. Pachinko is a book that Sophie just absolutely loves. In fact, we were corresponding with author.
Gosh, don't mention Lee.
Sophie was really quite stressed.
I think I've peaked. That's it in life. To get a DM from Min Jin Lee. Anyway, so Pachinko. Pachinko is absolutely one of these books for me. It is incredible. It's been a TV show, which I haven't watched. Haven't watched that, haven't watched The Matrix, haven't watched Pachinko, but I love this book for so many reasons and I would want to read it again for so many reasons. So in a nutshell, It is a massively multi-generational sweeping novel about a Korean family who move to Japan. It spans from the 1900s through to the later part of the 20th century. And it starts with Sunya, who becomes pregnant by this kind of wealthy man who is not very much in the picture. Her and her family end up moving to Japan, where as a Korean family, they are very much discriminated against. I mean, the themes are probably quite obvious: identity, family, working out who we are, dealing with discrimination. It's huge. What I love about this is the multi-generational lens through which it's told, but also how much I learnt from reading it. Like, I had no idea about the discrimination that Koreans had faced in Japan. And in fact, I've realized with quite a few of the titles that I've picked for this section, they are actually virtually all of them, probably apart from one, are all linked to places and periods that I knew nothing about. And I gained so much knowledge from that book about a part of history that I just had no clue about. And I remember thinking, like, as I was reading it, gaining knowledge, it really did something for me. Not just the story, which is in itself incredible. It's a fantastic book.
You know, I have a book that I feel is very similar to that in this, which is a very important book. I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. My copy is actually not in front of me, which is really bothering me because I definitely took it down. That's a book that I read as a teenager, and Maya Angelou is an iconic author, and she was an activist. She writes with such fluidity and lyricism. She had the most torrid life. She was mute. She was assaulted. She lived in a time, obviously, of incredible racism, and her heroism and her resilience was such that I read it and it changed me as a person. And that's the reason that I wish I could capture those feelings again. Because when you're a teenager and you're so self-involved and, you know, your issues are the only issues you can see. And then reading a book like that, where you see someone so trapped, the imagery of that caged bird who sings for freedom. And it made me realize that there was a whole world beyond myself.
That's
and
incredible.
That I could get through anything because Maya Angelou had got through 100 times worse than I could even fathom that pain, the depth of her pain. But then the strength of her resilience was such that it's a book that I would suggest anyone could read, whatever you're going through, and you will feel emboldened to continue and persevere. So that kind of, it was emotional, but it was all encompassing. It kind of, it recalibrated my brain.
Wow. I think that in fact, I think with some of these, that is exactly what they do. They just almost change the way you think. There's like a shift. And that's why you feel like you want to go back to the moment that perhaps that may have happened. One of my picks is a very, very long book. So Pachinko is actually quite lengthy, but I guess it's very similar to Pachinko in that it's linked to that kind of thirst for knowledge. And I think it's all about how, you know, how in school, when you're studying, for me, it was history. When you're studying history, the syllabus is so prescribed. Like, we learn, I don't know what it's like now, it has been a while, but certain topics you will always cover. Gladstone and Disraeli, the Industrial Revolution. There are certain things that you learn. However, part of what I love about fiction is that it enables you through story to explore these other parts of the world, whether they are worlds like you have in Piranesi or they are worlds like you have in Pachinko, or the next couple of titles I'll quickly mention, because you're not able to necessarily know where to start with those topics if you're at a certain point in your life. So A Suitable Boy, Vikram Seth, is just an absolute epic. I don't have my copy of that either. It's actually troubled me how many of these I don't have. But that's a 1,300-page book set in India. I've always had an absolute love for India, and I've only ever been, I actually got the chance to go recently, but it's always been somewhere that I've been fascinated by through study, through literature. And this is an incredible story about a mother's search essentially for her daughter's husband, a suitable boy. But that, I remember reading that book, and I think because it is so long, it is, if you're loving it, it's bound to be immersive, because 1,300 pages is no joke, but it also takes you somewhere totally different. And I just think there's something incredibly magical about that. The other one that I think falls very much into that category is Half of a Yellow Sun, which I absolutely loved. And I knew so little about the civil war in Nigeria and the Biafran War is what it's actually called, and the state of Biafra that was set up. And this story brings a really human element to that hugely tumultuous period in time that I certainly was barely aware of. That's my own ignorance. But that's why I think these books where you can really discover knowledge and understand really important things that happened in history, I don't know, for me, those are a real go-to actually
because
in this section.
You are a little squirrel learner, and you love that. You love that. Those experiences.
No, I realized that as I was going through it. I'm like, they're all about these really important historical moments that I wanted to know more about and couldn't really find out where I should or how I
to life.
Yeah, exactly. Through character.
Well, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie is a writer of unparalleled
Absolutely. I did bring
strength.
I brought Dream Count as if it would maybe, and I loved Dream Count, but
That's
Half
her
of the Yellow Sun
book.
is really, for me, my favorite of her books. But I thought if I brought that, it was as close as I could get. Another one, I don't know where it is. I'm going to have to rebuy all of it.
Can't believe it.
I know.
She's a very, very special author. In this category, it would behove me not to mention Achilles. I have bought the signed copy out. It's very stressful. No, I feel like I need a guard.
Yeah.
Achilles comes up regularly. If you, in our research, I wanted to look at the titles that come up regularly over social media on this trend. Achilles comes up. And for me, I'm quite torn because, yes, I would love to experience the silk and the beauty of Miller's prose again for the first time, but actually I don't want to be without it. So I don't feel that need to experience it for the first time again because I loved it so much. It's just part of my DNA now. But a book, okay, and actually this brings us to our next sponsor. So we are going to just talk to you about London Nootropics, and I'm going to tell you why. So there was a book called Manacled, and it is, I am really not a coffee drinker. And I'll tell you
that's
when
my role in this partnership.
And I'll tell you when I started drinking coffee, not for university, then I Red Bulled it because I was inevitably 3 hours before an exam and didn't have the text. Yeah. But
Story of your life,
does that stress you out?
I'm feeling a bit unwell.
I am that person. But I always think I have more time than I do. And then it's like 2 hours to an essay being due. I'm like, I've only done the intro.
Whereas I've been sitting there for a month beforehand.
But Manacled, which has now become Alchemized. So Manacled is a Draco Hermione Harry Potter fan fiction that had millions of downloads on the fan fiction website. People were binding it, and I read it thinking that I was going to tear it apart and share everyone how superior and clever I was and how fan fiction was so inane. And I drank coffee to stay awake because I read, Alchemized, which is the different version, I'll explain, is 950 odd pages. I read that book in a day and a half.
Thanks to some coffee.
Right? And ignoring children. I think I don't know what I did for work. Let's pretend it was a weekend. I had to read it. I had to read it. It was the most I have ever been addicted emotionally, and just my soul was sending news. But I actually have a problem with coffee sometimes because with my Crohn's, it can really irritate me. But the beauty of London Nootropics is that it has these adaptogens that really give you so many additional benefits and almost allows the coffee to become much more long lasting.
Yeah, it's absolutely worked for me. So I have been using London Nootropics for the last few months, I guess now. It's and it's been brilliant. I find I have one in the morning and it looks like coffee, smells like coffee, tastes like coffee. It is coffee. It's got caffeine in it, but it's also infused with adaptogens. So the one I love is Flow, which has lion's mane in. And I find it just really helps me focus. And I do not get those kind of post-lunch jitters that I normally get needing a cup of coffee. So if you're interested in giving it a try, and we should say the packaging is also very,
it looks
very
like
pretty.
Charlotte Tilbury
Yeah, it really
for the
does.
coffee. It's ridiculous.
Very pretty packaging. If you'd like to take advantage of our discount code, you can. It's Biblio, and just head to the London Nootropics website to take a further look.
And the website's in our show notes. So that is honestly, that was my introduction. And it's very interesting because so Senlin Yu they were approached to publish. Obviously, you cannot publish fan fiction based on someone else's intellectual property.
No.
So they had to entirely rejig it and create an entirely new magical system
New characters. Yeah. Is it very similar to Manacled?
Oh,
Just
it's the same entire plot.
Name changes.
There's just a lot more building because you have to create a world and a whole new magic system. But the central premise is there. Did I enjoy Alchemized, which is the published version? Yes, it had the most pre-orders Penguin have ever had.
Yeah.
But it didn't give me the buzz of Alchemized. Why? A, I knew it was coming. And B, when you're reading about characters that you love and the plot is so twisting and I didn't see any of the twists coming. Honestly, if I was reading that on a train, people would think there was an incident because I would be gasping and wheezing and panicking. I was not a human being when I was reading it, and I would genuinely sell a kidney to read it again. I would do anything.
I think I feel that way about Demon Copperhead by Barbara
Do you know,
Kingsolver.
I saw a review. It's really inappropriate. Should I say it?
Yes.
It's terrible. If I offend anyone, I'm so sorry. It wasn't my words.
Go on.
But someone put on the Goodreads of Manacled. I'm so pleased that dementia runs in my family because I'm going to get to read this again for the first time.
That is awful.
How terrible.
But sort of sums
it
it
had
up.
thousands of likes.
That is brilliant.
And I was
brilliantly
wheezing.
bad, but brilliant.
I was wheezing with laughter because I'm like, it's like the only good thing I can think of my family's predilection to dementia is that I'm going to get to read this again.
And again, and again. So many of these.
How terrible.
It's not okay.
It's not okay.
Not okay,
I
but
didn't say it. It's on Goodreads.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, where was I? Oh, Demon Copperhead. I have to say, this is a hefty book.
Not one for me.
What, you didn't love it. You
I
just
loved it, but I found it almost traumatic.
Oh my God, give me the trauma. Maybe I'm a masochist. I don't know.
Are.
But I
So
want
traumatic,
this
Sophie.
trauma. I want it again.
I'm not the same person I was reading that book.
There are a lot of my books that I like that are dark and twisted.
No, these aren't twisted.
This isn't
it's just
twisted
so
dark.
sad.
I just want it again. Give it to me.
That's also another Women's Prize winner.
I loved this book. Also, you know how obsessed I am with the opioid crisis. And I'm not going to mention Patrick Radden Keefe. I just mentioned him again. It's not okay. Someone's going to come and arrest me for my stalking. Okay, but the point is, I read Empire of Pain. I did love that. This is the novel, and this is just insane work.
Personalizes the opioid crisis.
I haven't read David Copperfield. I know is a very important piece of literature. However, this book is a retelling based in the Appalachian Mountains. Demon Copperhead, you can hear the similarity between the name, I'm hoping. Demon is our main protagonist, and this is his story. And I savored every single word that Barbara Kingsolver
It's
wrote.
astonishing that she becomes a 15-year-old boy.
She is a 15-year-old boy. I don't know how this could be anyone other than Demon writing this. It's insane. It takes us. Demon becomes addicted. He's prescribed painkillers for an incident that relates to his leg. There's this whole cycle of addiction. It's all about where he comes from. It just leaves you totally gobsmacked. The writing is insane, and just love all of the characters. There are so many in here that I love. They are so real, and I want that trauma again. And maybe that sounds completely unhinged.
It's
but
not.
I absolutely.
It isn't. I mean, it is trauma. Isn't it?
I want this again.
The characters were so real that I wanted to reach in and adopt him. It was horrific. There is a scene in this book where Demon is watching children in a canteen in school.
This has literally scarred you. I hope you're talking to someone about this, because this comes up regularly. I'd say each week, not on the pod, but in our chats.
All the time.
I'm worried about your kids.
Demon watches children throw away the crusts of bread, and he doesn't understand because that's food. And this is a child so hungry. His hunger infected me. And I remember that night,
the poverty is just
my
so
daughter
visceral.
wanted me to cut off the crust, and I was like, "You are going to eat these crusts. you are going to eat them.
Forever.
And I have never, ever cut off the crust of bread again. I will not do it.
I've never been a crust cutter.
My husband works for a food bank charity. Like, I understand the value of food. I think about it regularly. Like, I see what people go through and how they count the potatoes and the grams of rice. I understand what people's lived experience is. But Demon Copperhead was another level, Sophie.
Another level. And I would totally sell my soul 10 times over to read that book again.
Would
for the
you
first
really?
time. Yes, I would. 100%.
I would definitely not.
But there we go. That's fine. Not going to judge you like you judge me about The Matrix.
No, that is unacceptable behaviour.
I am worried for when I leave this room. I am worried. I might just sleep here tonight and you can just go off on your merry way.
We have plans this evening.
We do have plans. We're going out.
We're not doing that anymore.
No, we're not.
You are going to sit down and watch The Matrix.
Oh, that's our plan.
That's your plan.
Okay.
So important. The next category we have is obsessive, atmospheric, voice-driven books. For me, The Secret History is up there, and so many people said that.
Yes, it is. It really is. We won't deep dive again. Please go listen to our deep dive on that if you're interested.
It was such fun to do.
We loved doing that.
We loved every minute.
It was just a fascinating book to get stuck into again.
But the book for me that I would want to experience again is Night Bitch. Night Bitch is a book of a woman descending into madness because of motherhood, and she becomes a dog, and it's so ferocious and it's so feral. And I remember reading it. We read it together.
Yes, we
and
did. Yes, we did.
I read it and I thought, this person understands every woman who has had a child that thinks she's going insane.
Can't relate.
And B, literature doesn't have to be classics or epic fantasy. It can be feral. It was my first experience of The Unhinged.
Oh.
And I just soaked it in. I think I read it in one sitting. I would do anything to experience it again. It's bananas. It's insane. It's brilliant. It's funny. It's witty, but it's also deeply relatable. And you're like, we've all been there.
Yeah.
Am I going mad?
I'm exhausted. I'd read that again. Personally, I wouldn't sell myself for that one.
Oh, I would. What one would you?
Okay, so what I loved.
You love this book, man.
Do you know, I think this book, there's one other, we'll get to it, that I can so clearly remember reading it. Like, I was on holiday and we were doing a lot of long car journeys. And before this book, I did not cope well with reading in motion. Like, it just...
No, I can't either.
But this book trained me. I could not put this down. So I thought, I'm just going to have to somehow try and cope and not feel sick because I have to read the book. So I think I persevered and I ignored my husband who was doing all the driving across the country and totally immersed myself in this book. Like, I remember just my brain cancelled out all the noise around me and I was able to completely focus on this incredible story, which I think it came out in 2003. And it's the story of two families actually. And Leo is an art historian and his neighbor Bill is a painter. And their sons grow up kind of like brothers, I guess. And art is a massive theme of this book, given their roles and what they do in life. But what's so incredible is that the art in the book almost mirrors the message of the book. It's sort of uncovering the layers of like what it really means to be human, what makes us human. And there is real sadness in this book, but it's really a build-up, like psychologically. You feel almost like you're re-examining the world. It's so mind-blowing. It's one of the most beautifully written and profound books I've ever read.
Now, I know it's an international bestseller, but I don't feel like a lot of people know about it. And whenever you talk about it, you get effusive comments being like, I love that book so much. Or people going, I've never heard of it.
It's absolutely stunning. And if you haven't read it, please read it. And I want to know what you think because I can just, even talking about it now, it's just the intensity of the friendship. And it just took me somewhere. It did something to me and I want it to do it again and it can't because I've already read it. So I want that again. I want it again.
I have a few books. I'm not going to go into massive detail. I have mentioned A Certain Hunger. A Certain Hunger is about a food critic that eats her boyfriends. Oh my God. I was on a beach in Florida on a hammock reading this book, gasping for air.
Is it a sexual thing, or is it like she's just really hungry?
She's just crazy.
Oh.
Discerning, meticulous, and very, very smart.
Bizarre to me.
A clear mastery of culinary arts.
Why would you want to read that again for the first time? Because it's so disturbing. Is it horror? Is it horror?
Yeah, she
but
literally.
Funny at all, or
it's so funny. Her wit is on another level.
Okay.
It's a critique of how gender is defined. It's a virtuoso storytelling. It's the world's most charming psychopath. And I was watching it unfold. I was thinking, this is one of the best books I'm ever going to read, just because it's so unhinged but so clever. Look at the cover, the art.
Let me see.
I had to get the American version because the English version of this book is green with a pineapple on it.
Really?
And then the American version has classical art of a woman holding a heart.
That's so weird.
So that's not going to happen. Carmilla is the precursor to Dracula. And the reason, and it's set in an isolated castle deep in the Austrian forest. And it's queer. It predates Dracula by 20 years. It's the original vampire story. It's steeped in tension and gothic romance. And I read it and I remember thinking, not only do I know nothing about the world, because I thought that Bram Stoker was the archetype of like vampirism, and actually there was a woman at their behest, like Sheridan Le Fanu, and I just read it. It's really slim and I just would love to experience that again. I really would. And then Lauren Groff Matrix.
I really liked Matrix.
Lauren Groff.
I haven't read her others though, but I really enjoyed that book.
She's just a storyteller of astonishing strength and power. And it's Marie, too wild for courtly life, is thrown to the dogs, expelled from royal court, and she becomes a prioress of an abbey. And these nuns are another world. And she misses her secret lover, Cecily. She's she's the last in a long line of female warriors. And it was historical fiction, but so beautiful. And I read it breathlessly.
And I absolutely adore that cover. Something about the cream, blue and gold. It's a vibe. It's a vibe. I mean, our next category is actually the kind of perspective shifting, idea-driven books that kind of make you just, I don't know, your jaw drop, and you just makes you rethink everything. And one of those for me, it's all over the TV at the moment, but I have to bring it up, The Testaments by Margaret Atwood. I think I was waiting for this book for so long after The Handmaid's Tale. I mean, The Handmaid's Tale was published in the 80s. I wasn't waiting for it for that long, but after I'd read it.
Yeah.
And when I heard that this was coming out, it was just the most exciting thing ever that we were going to be back in Gilead, and where would Atwood take us? When I think about the first time I read this book, I actually nearly died reading it, because I was crossing over the street in my office in Old Street, and I genuinely I was walking. I often read and walk. Do you do that?
No, never.
No, I do that regularly. And I
did it with Fourth Wing. I nearly died in Fourth Wing.
So I get a lot of funny looks, but I was on my way to work and I was so near the end and I just couldn't stop. It was I must have looked like some kind of crazy bookworm addict type of person, but whatever. Anyway, I did not look where I was going. I stepped off the pavement and there was an incident with a white van, a screeching brakes, a very, very angry driver, and me just meekly holding up this book as some kind of shield. Like, can you not understand? It's the Testaments. No, they did not understand. But the point is, this book, we're back in Gilead. It's told from 3 different perspectives. I don't want to say too much. I think I've talked about it with you. I'm in the middle of the program. I'm absolutely loving it. It's so beautiful. And the visuals of the women are stunning. There is a massive, massive change from the book about Agnes and Daisy. And I'm not sure I should say it. I don't know if I should say it. I won't say it. Well, no. It would really spoil the book, but people have probably, I think they can say it. I'm going to say it. In the book, Daisy and Agnes are half sisters, and that is a huge deal in the book, whereas in the TV adaptation, they are not, which I find kind of weird, but it's because I think they wanted them to be the same age in Gilead together, whereas they can't be if they're actually half sisters. Anyway, I'd give anything. This one, I'd really give anything. I'd give an arm and a leg, both arms and both the legs, to get back to that feeling. Perhaps not the near death, but just the excitement, the build up, and being back in a world that I, as you know, am somewhat obsessed with.
You absolutely are. Yeah. That perspective shifting feeling came to me in a book that is honestly a book that I would say has changed the world in some ways. Definitely the discourse around feminism was changed. So Mickey Kendall, Hood Feminism, Notes from the Women White Feminists Forgot.
What a book.
Now,
it's amazing.
It is amazing. I had done gender studies at university. I actually only got my place in UCL Law because I had my interview. I did not have the right grades, but they gave me an interview because of my statement, and the gender studies professor was the one that interviewed me, and it was 3 hours, and I'd read everything on herself.
I can imagine her sort of firing titles. And read that.
It was just a 3-hour love fest. And, I just hadn't, I was in a very serious Dworkin phase, Andrea Dworkin. I was looking at the second wave feminists and the third wave feminists, and I was writing my thesis. And I was not aware of this book. And then when we got together, I really wanted to dive back into
me and you
when our relationship started.
When we got together,
and I really wanted
that magical night
to read. I really wanted to read more feminist nonfiction because I was so deeply immersed in it in university, and then I had all my books, and I felt like I'd read into that topic. And then looking, I was thinking, I have not read widely enough. I have not read widely enough, and this book came out in 2020. Again, I'm going to do the red pill, blue pill, but you won't know what I'm talking about. How can feminists stand in solidarity as a movement when there's a distinct possibility that some women are oppressing others? The problems facing marginalized women have only increased in intensity. The ableism, the racism, the trans misogyny, it was incendiary. And I just remember reading it and thinking, I was like tabbing every other line.
That is a total perspective shifter, that book. You see something that
veil
you
is lifted
the veil is lifted.
Your eyes. And I would love that feeling again because I haven't read anything. And there's The Gendered Brain by Gina Rippon. There's Bitch by Lucy Clarke, which talks about the evolution and the misogyny within evolutionary science. And all of those books I've read, and you're kind of aware of them because you're aware of the misogyny in culture. But this was a book that made me realize that A, I knew nothing, and B, that it's only because of books like this can things change. Because I was someone that felt like I knew a lot about feminism.
Bigger.
I knew nothing.
It's bigger than the sum of its parts.
Hood Feminism.
It's really an incredible book. I think that, when you're thinking about, for me, a real perspective shifter, annoyingly, I don't bloody have it. It's really bothering me. And they even have one of those Dior book bags with the title all over it. I need it. I mean, can we just make sure everyone knows I need it? Dior, I need the In Cold Blood.
Oh yeah, that
Truman
is a
Capote book bag. #now. It's because for me, I don't even know why I came to that book. I actually think it was in one of those moments that I often have around, I need to read more classics. But as you know, I do struggle with classics. They're not something that I turn to with any kind of regularity. And that book is considered a classic. And I remember picking it up, and it was a Penguin Modern Classic or whatever they called it. And it grabbed me straight away, this kind of investigation into a murder. So it's really an interesting book because it's almost a pioneer of genre. It's called, I've written it down because a non-fiction novel, the first real non-fiction novel. It is about a true story, a murder of an entire family for no apparent reason. There's no motive here. They were just killed. Husband and wife, they were called the Clutters, Herb and Bonnie, and their kids slaughtered. And no one knew why. And the book explores the murderers, what actually happened, but it's done in such a way that you really feel like you're reading a novel. But this is a true story. And that, I think for me, it's that probably that makes me want to read it again because it felt truly innovative. Even though I read it many, many years after it was published, even then there's something really groundbreaking.
It came up as well in the Instagram. So why don't you tell us exactly what titles came up?
Oh, we had a bunch of them.
So definitely The House in the Cerulean Sea came up. In Cold Blood came up. Still Life.
Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. Owen Meany. I have held back and not discussed Owen Meany, but that's massively one for me. Winter in Madrid, In Memoriam.
In Memoriam, people would love to experience again.
One Day, Pachinko.
Song of Achilles obviously came up. Another title that came up on Instagram a lot is We Need to Talk About Kevin. And I feel like that's the twist aspect.
Yeah, it totally is. For me, this book, I have talked about it before, but We Need to Talk About Kevin, another dark and twisty one from me. Sorry, that's just what I love. But this book, I would give anything to read this again for the first time. Primarily because of the twist. The twist being, spoiler alert, sorry if you've read it, but when you find out that Kevin's mother, the letters that she is writing constantly to Kevin's father, you find out that Kevin's father is dead. And that is a massive, for me, I was like, whoa. And I did kind of see it coming. I wondered, but then that moment of realization that you're only going to get the first time you read it, like that makes me want to read this one again for the first time.
I know. We're not massive thriller readers, but I feel like that kind of propulsive thriller aspect is one that
there probably are a lot of thrillers like that people are like, I wish I could read that thriller again.
Yes.
We're just maybe not the right people
just for the
that.
first. I felt like that about The Silent Patients, actually.
Yeah, you're right. I really enjoyed that book.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you next week, where we have the most fabulous episode planned.
I cannot wait.
Yeah. I can't even begin to tell you.
I want to go home now just so I can start doing research.
We are going to do doctorate level research on a topic that we're deep diving into. Hold the phone caller. You are going to freak out.
Cannot wait. See you next time.